Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post everything up to social media stuff, waka waka doo da day. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor. Where am I? BetterHelp. There we go. BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. I have gotten really good feedback from people using them. They are easy to use, and their therapists are apparently really good. So I'm very pleased. Thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're also international. If you're outside of the U.S. and you need to get into a therapist, they will place you with a licensed professional, master's level, or PhD level therapist in the state, or the one that can do international. So thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, so today's question is a very good one. So on the one on grief, grief and flying monkeys, I got the question, if you're comfortable, could you share some memories or insights about your relationship with your mother and what led you to maintain that contact? I understand family dynamics can be challenging. I've had my struggles too, and sometimes it's hard to find common ground. So as Shakespeare sort of said, I'm going to paraphrase, to contact or not to contact, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous behavior, or by facing a sea of troubles, oppose them and end them. So, to either go contact or no, that's not what Shakespeare said, forgive me, Will. But basically, it's like, do you contact them? Do you stay high contact? I wouldn't recommend it. Do you go low contact? Probably the best option. Or the absolute best option is no contact, depending on how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs they are, okay? So, let me just refresh your memories. I wrote a whole book about my crazy-ass family. So this is What's Wrong with Your Dad, available on everything: Audible, Kindle, paperback, on Amazon, yada yada. So this book talks about both my mom and my dad, and I got this quote, "What's wrong with your dad?" because a lady came up to me in the drugstore one day and literally asked me, "What's wrong with your dad?" Like that wasn't traumatic. Anyway, my mom, okay. So let's talk about my mom for a brief moment. She definitely had a personality disorder. I'm guessing borderline, and here's the reason why. She had a mother who was absolutely a narcissistic POS, 110%. I did not like that grandmother at all. She was vicious. Didn't like her. Selfish, vicious, self-centered, horrible human being. Troll, I would say. She abandoned my mom when she was 11 in a boarding house in Las Vegas. So that would have been in the 1930s, 1940s. She allowed my mom to be raped by the great-grandfather, from the ages of 6 to 11. Ask me how much respect I have for that. I'm not even going to say woman. She's not. She's a horrible human being. She did not protect her child at all. And she knew it was going on. She did. There's no way she could not have known. And mom even said that. My mom then at age 15 married a man who was 28. Can you say pedophile? So she was 15. He was damn near twice her age. Okay. And my grandmother was only interested in getting rid of my mom, because she was like, she had 5 kids and she wanted to get rid of all of them. It's like, I don't want to have to take care of them. I don't want to marry them off. That's literally what she did to all of them. One of my uncles actually married a woman that was older than my grandmother. Lie on the couch and tell me about your mother and your father. That side of the family is so foobarred, it's not even funny. Almost all of them are dead now. So, anyway, the point being is she had a ton of trauma. She divorced her first husband, and then she married my dad because she never fixed whatever was going on, because she married another, narcissist, borderline, etc., personality disordered person, psychopath, whatever. Hello. So, she had her own issues. Now, the difference between my mom and my dad, there was no space with my dad. There was no space. You couldn't get in there to get a discussion going about, hey, maybe this isn't the right behavior. Maybe you want to take a look at this. Nothing. With my mom, there was space. So A difficult relationship, to be sure. I mean, she tried to sabotage my wedding to John. Yeah, I talk about it in here. She absolutely did the wrong thing with my middle sister, you bet. She tried to interfere with my older sister. I mean, she was very much struggling with mental health, to be sure. But there was space there. She had a curiosity. She had, and not just a fake curiosity. You know how like assholes will be like, help me, help me, help me, and then you help them, and then they 2 seconds later, help me, help me, help me. She didn't do that. She was more curious, like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? So she had a curiosity. And so when I started working on myself, I turned around and I gave her all the workbooks, all the, here, do this, here, read this, here, do this, here, read this. And we would have discussions and she would be genuinely curious. So there was space there for me to get in and start, working with her, not necessarily as a therapist, but just getting her thinking, With my dad, there was no space. You could not get in there. I went low contact with my dad. For a long time, I went very low contact with my mom because she was just, but after my dad died, here's the weird thing. After my dad died, it was like she was a completely different person. Like the weight was lifted off of her. She was much more open. She was much more willing to discuss things. I mean, she was willing to discuss things before, but there was more of a willingness after he left. Do I think he was the entire problem? Hell no. She absolutely had many issues. God love her. And though she knew how to love, Dad did not know how to love. He did not understand the word love at all, period. So Mom did have that caring in a sense. She did it as much as she could. Dad didn't even try. So there was more there than there was with him. With him, there was no there. It was all ego. With her, there was ego, but there was not like the narcissist kind of thing. It was more borderline. She was traumatized. Poor thing. She was traumatized from a very, very, very young age. And I directly lay it at the feet of my grandmother. She was a 4-lettered word. Think of all the nasty 4-lettered words. That's her. So, yeah. So to go contact or no contact. So I did go very, very low contact with my dad because he was just freaking toxic. It's like you couldn't get him on the phone and talk to him without telling you a dirty joke or a racist joke or, something else completely and totally inappropriate, And with my mom, for a while there, she was literally losing her mind because I got married. She didn't want me to marry. She wanted me to, like water for chocolate. She wanted me to stay single and take care of her. And I was like, I'll take care of you, but I'm getting married. It's like, sorry, I like my husband. So anyway, and all of us at some point in time went very low contact to no contact with her because she was just interfering and just not appropriate. And same thing with Dad. So going no contact, I recommend if the person is dangerous, okay? Like if they're stalking, if they're... Recently, I had one that they'd been divorced for quite a while. The ex found out that the other person was dating and called them up and screamed at them for cheating on them. Hola, ¿cómo estás? What the frick? And that's when I was like, do not respond. Do not send anything back. Absolutely cold turkey. Block them on everything. And if they continue to contact you, you're going to have to file a restraining order. So the no contact is really good for if you're dealing with a disordered ex or disordered family member that is illegal stuff. They're stalking, they're accusing you of things, they're completely inappropriate, they're smearing you, you could absolutely cut them off. Choosing to cut off a family member is an intensely personal choice. And I only recommend it if there's a danger there. Like if they're like, that's crazy behavior. It's like you've been divorced for years and because you broke up with your person, you're going to come and attack your ex for dating? What the hell? I mean, that's dark triad behavior. That is psychopath, narcissist, control freak. So if that's going on, yeah, you want to cut them the hell off. It's like, yeah, we're done here. Thanks for playing. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. That kind of thing. If you've got a family member that you need to stay in touch with, say there's grandkids or there's, there's other family members, and you don't necessarily want to go completely no contact. You go low contact. And that's what I did with my dad. My dad was so out of it. If he didn't think about you, if you were not right in front of him, he didn't bother you. So he would, call me once every couple of months, and that would be fine. I'd be like, okay, that's about all I can handle. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, that was a funny joke. No, it wasn't. You're racist and sexist, and oh my God. And then we'd be done for another 2 months, and that's fine. So low contact. With my mom, I went no contact for a while because, like I said, she was actively malicious right around the time I was getting married. And so I just was like, nope, I am not playing this game. Thanks for playing. You need to learn appropriate behavior. There we go. You need to learn appropriate behavior because I am not playing this. And I love you, but because I love you, I'm saying no. So we went no contact for a while, and then gradually low contact. And then after Dad died, we talked every day, and it was good because there was space, and you can tell the difference, and you can tell whether there's an authentic curiosity or not. And she had an authentic curiosity, and she would talk with my other sister, my older sister, and they would have conversations, and then we'd have conversations, and then we'd all three have conversations. And then, and so she was learning, and she was willing to learn. And I think that's the biggest difference. So yes, there was a huge amount of trauma there, but most of her trauma, the borderline behavior, was because of the sexual abuse that she went through, the emotional abuse she went through from my grandmother. Don't get me started. And because that woman lived with us from the age of 14 until I moved out at 17 because I couldn't stand it anymore. She would listen in on my phone calls. She would spy on my stuff. She'd go through my diary. There was no privacy with this woman. And she was always looking for something to rat on me to my mom. It was like a competition. Again, narcissist competition. So it's an intensely personal decision, and it can change. It's not written in stone. So, for example, with my dad, that was pretty much written in stone because that was never going to improve ever on this or any other planet. So, but with my mom, I kind of knew. It was like, okay, she's getting triggered. There's stuff going on. She hated her marriages, so she couldn't conceive that I would marry somebody that was healthy because she didn't marry somebody that was healthy. So, okay, so I'm dealing with somebody who's about 6 years old right now, and I knew that. And so I kind of went no contact for a while, and then low contact, and then we started talking again. And I let her know what the boundaries were. I was like, here's my boundaries. Here's my boundaries. And if you cross them, it will be no contact again. And she knew that. So, and she respected it, which was amazing. So basically it's whether there's space or not. It's whether that person has enough space to grow that you can get in there and plant some seeds. That was the difference. With my dad, it was all ego. There was no room. With my mom, there was room. I could slip in there and plant some seeds and be like, okay, let's talk about this next time, and then we'd talk, and then we'd process stuff. And I gave her all the workbooks, and she started working them. So, good on her. One of our last conversations, she was like, I want to reincarnate and I want to do better. And I'm like, okay, good. It's like, right on, do it, So yeah, so there was room, there was space. And I think that's the difference. And like I said, if there is stalking, smearing, calling you up after years and screaming at you because you're dating somebody because they broke up, oh, hell no. No, you cut those people off cold. There's no space there. There's no logic. There's no space. There's no there. If there's space and there's genuine, not fake, but genuine curiosity about why am I doing this? Why is this happening? I need help. Okay, great. Here's your help. But if they don't work on the help, if they don't actually incorporate it, then they're fake. They're just assholes, right? But my mom actually worked on it. So there was the difference. So I hope that answered your question. So basically, if somebody is dangerous, smearing, stalking, screaming at you years after you're divorced because you're dating and they're not, yeah, absolute no contact. Do not contact them. And no response is a response, honestly. So when you have somebody who's like, you need to answer me. No, you don't. I got to pay taxes and die, biatch. That's the only thing I have to do. So yeah, that's what you want to do. And then you decide what amount of contact do you need or want to have with these people, and you draw incredibly strong boundaries, and you have the right to. So, for example, a lot of times what happens, this is going to go a little long. Well, a lot of times what happens is the very codependent parent will marry another abuser, and then that abuser will try to prevent them from having contact with their kids, or they'll try to create drama. And I've had several clients go no contact with the new spouse, but let the dad or the mom know, hey, you're more than welcome over here, but this person is not. And here's why. And then when they try to fight it, nope, here's what they've done. I'm not interested. And then it's up to them. And then you tell them, it's like, it's your choice. If you're going to choose between me or your spouse, I understand if you decide to choose your spouse, and that will mean the end of our relationship. We're done. Because it's like, look, when you have kids, those kids come first. Second wife, second husband, those, your kids come first. And I've seen these narcissistic stepmom and stepdads demand that the parent get rid of their own kids in favor of their children. Oh, hell no. So anyway, and my dad did that. You know, my dad married my mom, had a second family, and suddenly his first two kids were nothing, which I don't approve of. So anyway, there is that. I hope that answered your question. So that's why I stayed in contact with my mom. There was enough space to do some work there with her. With my dad, nothing. I got nothing. So there it is. And it's an intensely personal choice. And you've got to write down, and I did this too, what are the pros, what are the cons? And what are the boundaries? What are the deal breakers? And what am I going to put up with? What am I not going to put up with? And I'm letting them know out front what the deal breakers are. You do this, we're done. You do this, we're done. You know, and then you give them a warning, and then you be done if that's the case. So anyway, hope that was helpful. Okay, guys, this week on Sunday, I'm going to be talking about manipulation. And we're going to talk about all the different forms of manipulation. So I want to make very clear what learned helplessness is, gaslighting, rewriting history, etc. Guilt tripping. I want to talk about all of that stuff because I see a lot of that happening. So I want to talk more about manipulation and what it is and what it isn't. All right, I will talk to you guys on Sunday. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.